What's going on, awesome people? Welcome to episode 19 of Countdown to Freedom in Iran. It is Wednesday, May 10th. Nothing makes me realize how quickly time goes by when we have these countdown episodes. I feel like every single Wednesday is just... sorry, guys, for technical difficulties. I apologize. Welcome. So we have a great show lined up to you guys. Whoa, wow. I'm going to do a whole reset. Is there a place? Oh, my God. I can't even talk right now. I feel like, oh my God, Mona is joining. Okay, that was my problem. Mona Hairi was missing from the Uniters because she's traveling and I was all out of sorts. But now that I see that she's in the chat, I am good. The wheels are greased and we're ready to rock and roll. We have a very good program lined up. The awesome Paris Mansouri will be joining us very shortly with the latest news and updates. There's been a lot happening, and so we have a lot to cover, so we're going to jump right into it. And then after that, we're going to have Sareh Kazemi giving us a Uniters update. After that, we have Dr. Sam Rasoul, who's going to be giving us a little stress doc segment. And then we have Shaheen Samadi, who's going to be our special guest. He is an Iranian-American hip-hop artist. He's been on a couple of our live streams in the past couple of years. And he's been doing a lot of great things since the beginning of the revolution, using his talents musically to be the voice of people. So very excited to have him on later tonight. Please stay tuned for the entire program. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of events to discuss. Want to give a shout out to a few people. Shahla Kosari. Got to give a shout out to Signs Are Us. Every time I see Shahla Jun, I immediately think about the beautiful signs that she's continuously donated to what we're doing at Unite and Conquer. And I see some new faces too, or new names. Yasi Joe, Sean Vad, and of course Sherry Jun. Hello, how are you? We have Baharak. So anyways, the point is, if there's new people here, appreciate you guys joining. Countdown is the only weekly English speaking live stream dedicated to what's happening in Iran, and we're happy to have you join us if you're a first time viewer. And like I said, let's just get right to it. Paris just said that there's a lot of news, even though people might say that, and we have to continue to speak about what's happening. And who better than the lovely Paris Mansouri, all the way from the beautiful city of Montreal.
Hello.
Hi, Paris. How are you? Well, two reasons. First of all, I got stuck saying some words in the first minute, so I was like, what the hell's going on? And then I thought you were in the dark at first, but I think the Instagram was just loading a little bit slow. So great to have you as always. Paris, I know you said that there's a lot to cover, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get this news started.
Let's just start off by saying hi to Monajun, the ultimate uniter, who's in Greece and watching us on a massive time delay. So Monajun, thank you so much for being here and continuing to unite us on the other side of the world. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's not good news, unfortunately, Imanjun. The Islamic Republic has broken a new human rights record.
I know that there's records to be broken in this regard, but I'm certainly not surprised if they're the ones breaking it.
Yeah, so according to the BBC, and I'm looking to the side because that's where there's notes, and Monajun says it's 3 a.m. Thank you for being here at 3 a.m. and hearing about murders that the Islamic regime is carrying out. So according to the BBC, the Islamic regime is second to China on basically carrying out executions. Excuse me. This year they've been executing on average 10 individuals a week. So 10 Iranians have been killed every week on average since the month of January. And these are the numbers that are accounted for. We have to keep that in mind as well. These are the numbers that the Islamic regime is making public. We don't know what the true numbers are because we know there are individuals who are being killed, you know, unjustly daily during protests, during interrogations. But what they're telling us is that it's on average 10 people, which means 209 people have been executed by the Islamic regime in Iran since the month of January. 40 people have been hanged in the past 10 days. 2 more people were hanged this week, this time for blasphemy. So it's 2023 and people are still getting hanged for blasphemy. Youssef Mehdad and Sadrullah Fazeli, they were both arrested in May 2020 for being members of a Telegram chat group. You guys, they were members of a Telegram chat group discussing religion and basically critiquing it. So they were arrested. They've been in jail since, you know, May 2020, and they were just hanged. By the way, May 8th, the day that they were hanged, is also the day that Farrokh Ruparsa was killed, and this, we're just going to do a bit of a culture note. She was executed by the Islamic regime when it was newly formed at the time. So this happened back in 1980. Farrokh Ruparsa, she was killed by firing squad. The charges against her were corruption on earth and spreading prostitution. So this corruption on earth and falsely killing people for absolutely no reason is not new. So to anyone who's not familiar with news about Iran, you may be hearing about protests or hanging people. We've been dealing with this for the past 44 years. And this woman, she was a physician, she was an educator, she was a parliamentarian. And under the Pahlavi monarchy, she was the first female cabinet minister as well. She was the mother of four. She was the minister of education. And after the revolution, the Islamic regime arrested her, charged her with corruption on earth, and killed her by firing squad. So again, this was in 1980, but as we can see, this pattern of killing people for absolutely no reason is being repeated.
What about details on other death sentences that unfortunately we've been hearing about?
Yeah, so Iran Wire has obtained copies of documents stating that Iran's Supreme Court has upheld the death sentences for 3 individuals. They're Majid Kazemi, Saeed Yaqoubi, and Saleh Mir Hashemi. And according to Iran Wire, the 3 men were arrested in connection with the death of a Basiji. Now, it's not confirmed, and to anyone watching, it was never confirmed that they actually killed the man. And there's actually groups that are providing legal advice to protesters who are saying that there's no evidence that's actually proving their guilt, and in fact is likely any sort of guilt was acquired through forced confession. So these individuals, it can happen at any moment, unfortunately, for them. They have been transferred to solitary confinement. And again, if we could use their names, Majid Kazemi, Saeed Yaqoubi, and Saleh Mir Hashemi as hashtags, use their names, really use the hashtags, and hopefully we can save their lives. But at this point, the Islamic regime is setting records.
You would think that there's an organization globally, let's just call it like a United Nations Human Rights Watch, that would perhaps police these type of inhumanities happening. But just when you want to hope that these type of organizations, first of all, exist, and second of all, actually do what you want them to do, what happened today that pretty much shocked all Iranians?
The Islamic regime has been appointed to a leadership position, a leadership role within the United Nations Human Rights Council. I'm sorry, and I know I'm using intonations, but it's beyond me. I know that a couple of months ago, so many Iranians were excited about signing a petition and removing the Islamic regime from the Women's Committee. Guys, there's nothing to get excited over. This is pretenses. That there was nothing to celebrate. As you can see, the United Nations does not care about Iranians or what it does with the regime. So the Islamic regime's ambassador to the United Nations, his name is Ali Bahraini. He's going to not only be present, he's leading. Do you understand this? The United Nations has invited the ambassador representing the Islamic regime at the United Nations to lead the session. And the session is about technology and the promotion of human rights. So if you missed the beginning of this segment, we spoke about how Youssef Mehdad and Sadrullah Fazeli, they were just hanged for using a Telegram chat group. If you're not familiar, the internet is intermittently shut off in Iran to prevent people from communicating, but yet somehow the Islamic regime's ambassador gets invited to the United Nations to lead a section on technology and the promotion of human rights.
Can you give us a quick note about ongoing protests?
Yes, weekly protests happen in Zahedan. To anybody who keeps saying, or when you hear people say, oh, the protests have died down, the protests never died down. There have been protests every week, every Friday in Zahedan, they happen. There are intermittent protests every single week since Mahsa Amini was unjustly murdered back in September. If you tune into this program, we count those protests for you every week. So please, let's stop saying that the protests have died down. They have not. They are sparse and they are led by different organizations, different union groups, but they have not died down. There was also yesterday on May 9th, the Iranian Teachers Association has rallied in different cities nationwide, again, risking arrest. And they are also protesting wages, working condition, and basically unpaid salaries. So they're also in dire situations. They've all shown up to work and they don't get paid. So protests are still happening. Let's continue amplifying the voices. And if you haven't seen it, search for it. If you Google it, the information is out there. So let's please stop diminishing, because in protest, people literally lose their lives. So let's not diminish the lives of the individuals who are literally putting themselves and their families on the line.
The regime has issued arrest warrants for dozens of former and present U.S. officials. Why and who is on their list?
Yeah, so this is a bit of a kicker, but this is the Islamic regime kind of trying to flex their muscles. The warrants are in connection with the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. And on the list are former President Donald Trump, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and former head of CENTCOM, General Kenneth Franklin McKenzie. So if y'all know them, any of these guys, just tell them not to go to Iran. Like, they won't be welcome. They'll be arrested. That's the plan. The charges are, quote, involvement in an act of terror that led to homicide and action against Iran's domestic and external security and funding terrorism. And Fars News quotes an Islamic regime official who said judicial requests for cooperations were sent to 9 countries. So the Islamic regime is taking this very, very seriously. And the targeted countries are those who the Islamic regime believes played part in the assassination of Qasem Soleimani. And the prosecutor says that they've summoned some 12,000 judicial documents which were collected against the defendants in this case. So they're taking it seriously. It's a bit of a kicker, but they're basically, if you guys remember, at the time of Qasem Soleimani's death, they had said that they were going to basically strike back at the regime, strike back at Israel and whoever took part. And they're basically left the doors open on what that would look like.
Last week, we spoke about the Islamic regime making concerning statements about selling the Persian Gulf islands of Kish and, was it Qish?
Yeah.
Wait, I want to pronounce it correctly. Okay, well, good. Okay.
Qish. There's people, like, depending on the local dialect, is Kish or Qish, depending on how individuals would pronounce it from where they
some
are.
of our historic sites have been put on sale too. Just say, like, imagine a national monument being put on sale. Like, just even saying it out loud sounds asinine. But why don't you tell me what's happening now with these recent historic sites?
Exactly. Like, think of how many historical sites there are in America. You know, if you go to Boston, if you go to Pennsylvania, if you go to California, there's so many in Texas. Imagine if those places no longer belong to the state and any private citizen anywhere in the world could purchase them and literally do whatever they want to them. So this is heartbreaking, and it's very accurate, and it's incredibly real for Iran. The Times is actually reporting this, that some of Iran's most historical sites and treasures are going to be part of an online auction on May 22nd. So literally, when you go down this list, like, it's absolutely heartbreaking. The Ministry of Cultural Heritage, Tourism, and Handicrafts is officially putting 19 locations up for sale. Rayan Castle on Kerman is on the list. Are you familiar with Rayan Castle? Okay, so I'm going to go down this list because it was new to me. I had heard of it, but I didn't realize how symbolic it is. This castle is over 1,000 years old and dates back to the pre-Islamic period, the Sassanid Empire. And it's the second largest adobe structure after the Bam Citadel. So basically, if you look at it, the way it's constructed, you can tell it's like an ancient, not only an ancient Iranian site, but there's only 2 like it in the world. The other one is, you know, the Bam Citadel, which was, there was an earthquake there and much of it had been destroyed.
I was actually Googling it as you
if you look at Ryan
Castle, to say it looks just like Bam. And
yeah. So this one, actually, it's funny. I'm going to share that because I saw somebody share some pictures of it. This site is actually, no one's even taking care of it, Iman. Like, that's how little the Islamic regime cares about national monument and historic site. So literally people were walking around and there were pieces of pottery on the ground that are broken. Like, anyone could pick it up and leave. So it's completely unkept. And basically it's up for sale now at this point. And keeping in mind that Iran is one of the richest countries on earth, just to think that they're resorting to selling monuments and land to foreigners, to anyone, to make ends meet is absolutely unacceptable. And it's really sad that no one's stepping in. Bam Citadel is a registered UNESCO site. It's a World Heritage Site. This citadel, this castle, should be on that same list, and it's not. And you have to remember that in some cases there are historic sites that have been purchased and like turned into hotels, turned into luxury spots where people can come and vacation, but there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that the person who's going to purchase this or any of these 19 locations are going to care for it. So between land and historical sites and our people,
are they sharing like the dollar amounts that these things? Oh, I guess we'll find out afterward. We won't know yet. The auction. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. And sad. Okay. What about updates about protesters and detainees? I feel like this list is going to be too long, but go ahead.
It keeps getting longer, and we say this every single week when we talk about the individuals who are taken in. By no means do we want to say that this is a complete list, and by no means do we want to say that we know every single individuals. We would love for you to share them with us. If you DM at Let's Unite and Conquer, if you DM Iman or myself, we'll make sure to highlight these individuals because it has become personal. We mentioned this story last week, and we're not going to mince words. I'm not going to the people whose stories that we know, we're going to do our best to highlight them because saying their names will save their lives. And we ask you to also take a moment to take in these individuals because they're not just names. They're individuals who are suffering for absolutely no reason. And in the case of Khushida Azadi, we spoke about him last week. He's a family member of one of our uniters, Shiva Sabir, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. I asked her for an update and there are none. They keep delaying his basically they're supposed to appear like some kind of public hearing of some kind or even a private hearing, and they've continually delayed it, and he's been denied access to his family. It's terrifying. So just a bit of background on him. Khushida was a judo coach at the highest level. He was set to appear at the Olympics in Australia. He was taken off the flight by the Islamic regime simply because he's Baha'i. Baha'i are a religious group, are an ancient part of our nation, but they are completely discriminated against by the Islamic regime. So he's been denied so many things, including practicing, his sport of choice, all the way to all these limitations when it comes to his business. So let's please use the hashtag Free Khushida to get his story out there and to keep speaking about him. Another member of the Baha'i community who was arrested, his name is Afif Naimi. He was arrested by security forces while he was on vacation. He's being held on $100,000 US bail. So that's another insane story. A positive story that came out this week is Navid Afkari's father. He was released from prison. He was arrested on May 2nd for absolutely no reason. For those who don't know, Navid Afkari was a wrestler, an Iranian wrestler. He was arrested in 2008, accused of killing a member of the Islamic regime security force. His two brothers were taken in. Navid was executed in 2020. His brothers are serving long sentences. His sister was arrested, I believe it was in November last year. Yeah, last November, along with her toddler. So this family has suffered an incredible amount. They're also under pressure. They're being threatened to not speak publicly. And that's why we believe that the father was arrested. Thankfully, he was released, but he was kept in prison along with criminals. Like this poor senior citizen whose children are all in jail is also suffering like this. It's absolutely unreal.
What are the action items this week and what hashtags?
IRGC terrorists, we're going to keep using that hashtag, and obviously Save Sharmad, Jamshid Sharmad, who is under threat of execution as well. Hashtag Salman Yassin, he appeared before a court on the 8th. We don't have further details on what happened to him. He's an Iranian Kurdish rapper. Speaking of Iranian rappers, Toomaj Salehi, let's please not forget his hashtags. And also Elnaz Mohammadi, Nilufar Hamidi, will say their names every week. They're two of the reporters who helped break the story about Mahsa Amini. And of course, Mahsa Amini and Iran Revolution. Let's please continue using these hashtags.
And your final message to our listeners?
Let's lighten it up. This was a very serious and somber, like, not that it's not every week, but there was really no bright points. But let's remember that our language is called Persian. It has a name. It's in English. It's Persian. And the name for our language in Persian is Farsi. And in other languages, do you speak any other languages? How do you say Persian in German? There you go. So if you're speaking in German, you wouldn't insert the word Farsi in.
It would have been disastrous
so
if I would not have known that. 10 years in Germany, and you would have put me on this spot, and then Avrumirat, you know. But yeah. But in Spanish, they would say, how do you say it in Spanish? If I was speaking in Spanish, yo hablo Irani? I have no idea, actually. Maybe Mona would know. Excuse me. Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, we can't keep using Farsi in every language we speak. Like in French, you say je parle le perse. You don't say je parle Farsi.
Well,
let's just use the language correctly. It's part of not erasing.
Oh, how beautiful.
She says
I like how you say it in Spanish. Very cool. Although it seems like Andy is saying Irani. I don't know where that's coming from. En español es persa. Anyways, we got to stay on schedule. Parishon, as always, we appreciate you spending so much time and doing your due diligence. It's all tough news that you have to constantly scatter through and just kind of like organize for us. And so we really appreciate everything you do. So have a wonderful rest of the evening, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Thank you. Before I go, I just want to answer this question from RMAP127. It says, why the Iranian lawyers and also Prince Reza not doing something about this legally, that if selling of Iranian land happens is illegal and will not be acceptable and after the revolution victory. I guess I understand what you're saying, but no one is the owner of the land. The Islamic regime is responsible for the land and legally allowed to do what they want with the land. And especially the locations that they're selling are not UNESCO World Heritage Site and not under international jurisdiction or review. So there's really no recourse.
Thank you so much.
That's the
all right, Aziz. Bye-bye. All right, we're going to keep this train moving. It's time to help welcome Dr. Sam Rasoul, the stress doctor, doctor of chiropractic and enzyme nutrition, joining us in 3, 2, 1. There he is, Dr. Sam. How are you, sir?
How are you doing, my man? Good to see you, brother.
I'm doing all right, man. I know you've had some tough days, so I appreciate you joining us with all that you're juggling, man. So thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for having me, and this is what I wanted to do, and I appreciate everything you guys do with Countdown and getting the word out, and this is the best. If you're not tuning in, guys, spread the word, guys. Spread the word. The best programming, bringing you the news from Iran. Our fight's not over. So.
Thank you so much. Well, listen, today's topic, we're going to be talking about upper cross syndrome. You want to kind of, first of all, explain what is upper cross syndrome, you know?
Well, yeah, upper cross syndrome, exactly. I mean, we talk about it all the time, and it's going to be funny. Don't laugh now. I found my old iPhone 3. Look at this thing. I'm going to use it as a prop in this thing. So, you know, whether you're texting or you're sitting on the couch, a lot of people are developing upper cross syndrome. What that is, I'm going to display it, is people are looking down like this. So they got the shoulders rolled in. They got the head down or head forward like so. And what it is, it creates a world of problems. You have a tight chest, which is pulling your shoulder forward. You've got stress on the neck, which puts stress on your nerves, on your discs, and everything else, which can lead to a world of problems like headaches, migraines, fogginess, and of course, like everything those nerves go to, pain and numbness down the arms, inability to use your hands. And then, of course, the other thing with that kind of upper cross syndrome, you're putting so much stress on your shoulders. So this is the people that are like, you know, my shoulder kind of hurts. And then one day they make one bad turn and they're like, oh my gosh, I injured my shoulder. They go to the orthopedic surgeon and they have to get rotator cuff surgery.
And why is that such a bad thing, this upper cross? Well, I guess you kind of touched on it a little bit, but why exactly is the upper cross syndrome so bad? Is it because of all the things you just mentioned?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the canary in the coal mine when you can consider, because what, you have to consider all the nerves that come out of your neck and your upper back. They go to different things. They don't just go to your muscles and your skin, but your organ function too. So a lot of people that may be suffering in this country with asthma and allergies and so on and so forth, the nerve supply to this area, you're almost like pouring gasoline on a fire. So if you are prone for allergies or asthma or indigestion, because the nerves from the back go to those digestive organs, you're actually creating a bigger problem, and you're increasing that snowball effect that you're having on your body. So it's so important. And then, of course, Iman John, 5, 10, 15 years down the line, sitting in this poor posture, now you're developing chronic neck pain. You're creating a chronic, the hunched over look like this. And, you get that ugly, sometimes people get that, fat pad. They're like, how do I get rid of that? And everything else. And also, you can also lead you to down the line of injections and surgery for disc problems in your neck and upper back.
So since I know that you're a fighter, how do you fight against this?
Well, many things you want to strengthen certain areas, and you want to stretch certain areas. So upper cross syndrome, if you look at it, why it's called upper cross, because if you look at my head from the side, you've got some tightness of the front of your neck here, you got tightness in your traps, and you got tightness in your chest. So you need to stretch those areas out. You can take a towel and roll it up like a beach towel or a bath towel, and you can just lay down on it 5 minutes a day on the floor. Lay down just like this, where you're kind of putting that nice natural curve in your neck. Number 2, getting the tension out of your upper traps. Massage is great, but you got to make sure the joint pressure is off. So seeing a chiropractor and or a physical therapist that knows manipulation is going to be crucial. And then, of course, stretching out your chest. So it's doing some doorway stretches where you put your arm into a doorway and you stretch out like this. In addition, so you stretch those areas out, you also want to strengthen the back of the shoulders and the rhomboid area right down here. So I have a band here to display. You could take a band like this. We have these in our office. You can find these online, very simple. You could put it around a pole or a tree, and all you're going to do, and I'll drop the band now, you're going to pull it towards your face, or you're going to pull it towards your chest. Depending on the area you pull it to, you're actually going to be activating different muscles in that what's called posterior chain. So you go from this to this. And it's not going to happen overnight, but just like anything, Iman John, we know this revolution isn't happening overnight. It takes time and effort. So our health is the same way. Time and effort, consistency is key, a little bit every day.
Every time I see you, I'm like, oh my God, my posture sucks. Oh my God. Like you literally, like, you make me stand up and just want to be straight because I feel like I'm doing everything wrong. Any closing words you'd like to share before we head into Sareh's segment?
I just want to thank you, Iman John, and I appreciate you giving me this chance. I want to dedicate this segment, and every time I've come on the countdown, for those close to me know, my beloved aunt, who I love dearly, she's like a second mother to me. She's always been my supporter, my rock, my beacon of light. She had a heart attack, and she's with my parents up in Central Florida, and she's on life support right now. So we're asking everybody for their prayers. We're not sure if she's going to pull through, but anybody who met her at the Baksha event knows, and sorry, I get a little emotional right now. She's my rock, and she's, since I was younger, she's always believed in me, and she's been like, everybody loves her. She's a dancing queen. You saw her at Baksha, and that's the kind of energy she has. And we just ask for all the prayers, and I dedicate this to her because she is truly my angel and here on earth, and I hope she stays with us. And I love you, Khalid. Thank you so much, Iman John. And she's a fighter just like us. So
of course, man. I mean, I definitely remember her energy and her smile, and she definitely had a lot of love for you, and you expressed your love for her so many times before. You're so excited when she was coming to visit from Sweden. So I know that you and your family are going through an incredibly challenging time right now, especially your dear mother. So just know that our entire Uniters family, the community, is here being as much of a support as we can be. And miracles do happen, but we appreciate you still being committed to being such a valuable contributor to Countdown each and every week, but especially this week while you and your family are going through really the most difficult of ways, man. So we appreciate you. We love you.
And she actually, I told her about Countdown, and honestly, guys, she tunes in. She loved it. She goes, I love what our generation is doing. She's like, you know, she always joked around. We messed up, you know, the revolution, this 1979. She goes, you guys are cleaning up our dirty work for us. And she was so proud, and she loved everybody she met. She was so thrilled and everything we're doing. So much love to everybody who's tuning in. Thank you so much. And to you, Iman, John, and everybody.
Thank you to Stress Talk. Thank you, man. And send my best to your family, okay?
Absolutely.
Take care, man. Love you.
Bye.
All right. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a believer of sending positive energy and prayers, definitely Sam and his family, and especially Tara Khanum, would really appreciate you sending whatever you can towards them. Really, I do remember her coming to the Bakhcha event, and it's just crazy in a matter of days and weeks how life can change. So if you ever needed a reminder that life is short, perhaps you use this opportunity and you live every moment to the fullest. I would like to go ahead and go now to our Uniter segment and welcome the lovely, the fabulous, the amazing Sareh Kazemi. She always does so much to help make all of our events and everything we're doing in South Florida and even online happen. And here she is. Hi, Sareh Jo.
Hi, Majan. That's really hard to follow.
I know. It's a very emotional segment that we just pulled you in, so...
No, I'm Sam. Sam knows I'm his biggest fan, and Sam, you know how we love you. Just like Iman said, we're here for you. I did have the incredible pleasure of meeting your Khale Tarane, and her energy is infectious, and I know that she feels you, and she is going to, pull through, and we're here for you in the meantime until that happens. And I swear, just up until that moment, I was stressing. I was like stretching to avoid the cross syndrome because I definitely have that. So I'm like, oh, stretching. And then you had me in tears and it all came back. So balance, I guess. We'll figure it out.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So speaking of events that we saw at Tara Khanum, we had a cool event this past Saturday. You were there. You want to talk about the Chelsea art experience?
Yes. We had an amazing experience with the wonderful Chelsea Hart who came down. She was essentially sharing her first draft of a show that she's putting together that's both intended to be a comedy show, but also very much focused on bringing awareness to not just what's happening in the revolution now, but the history of Iran and how, over the last 44 years, this Islamic regime has really reigned terror over this country and its people. And I was really impressed by just her sincere interest and care and love for the people of Iran. It's easy to think she's just a history buff, but that's not really it. Like, she gets our culture in a way. She gets the sincere love and empathy that, in my mind, is Iranian culture, like the true camaraderie, if you will, or what's the word, hospitality of the Iranian culture. Like, she feels that as a non-Iranian and as someone that hasn't visited. And I would, venture to say she doesn't have a significant amount of Iranian friends, but somehow she's captured it. And it was just so touching to see someone invest so much time. And we got to see what she's calling right now a work in progress for what will eventually be her Dammit Garm full show in Edinburgh. Is that right?
Edinburgh Fringe in Scotland in August.
Right.
So,
in August.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely been a sponge in this revolution where she's learned so much about our culture, our people. She's really experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly. But yet, no matter what, she's still, being the best voice that she can be, using her platform so much.
Yeah, she's incredibly smart, just incredibly informed. Yeah. I really had a lot.
Very
I had respect for her, but I gained more for her then, definitely.
Singing opera, and then the comedic element, the history element.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that the comedic portion of it was very tasteful. It was never, in my opinion, it was never intended to make light of what's happening or what has been happening or any of the lives lost. And in fact, it was the opposite. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, like, how could anyone even make this into a comedy show? And it's really important to mention that it was done very tactfully, and in fact didn't put any of what's happening in Iran as the actual comedic content, but rather interspersed throughout to bring awareness to what's happening. I was really impressed by it.
You're right, and that's why I was reluctant to call it a comedy show, because I knew it wasn't going to be comedy.
That's right.
Didn't know if anybody actually know what a work in progress is. I'd never known until I saw it, but it was amazing, and we appreciate Chelsea. And if you do know her, please message her and thank her. If you don't know who Chelsea Hart is, please follow her. She continues to use her platform to elevate the voice of Iranians. So
yeah, I think it's also important to say, just also prior to the show, prior to the main event, we had a really nice time just kind of congregating in an intimate setting, connecting with, you know, uniters and other individuals that had come to Balche and essentially at Platform, not Balche, it's a Platform. And we all got together there, spent some time together before we walked right next door to the show. So it was just a really, really lovely evening.
Great. Yeah, definitely had a good time. Enjoyed it. All right. So now what about future events?
Yeah. So first, I'm going to go in chronological order here. So many of you have probably seen on social media that on May 14th, this coming Sunday, it's been deemed kind of a global day of rally in support of Toomaj Salehi. As many of you know, I was actually just calculating the days, and I could be wrong here, but I think he was detained on October 31st last year. That makes today, I believe, 192 or 93 days. I mean, that's just mind-blowing. And before I say anything about future events, I truly want to ask everyone that's watching in or that future will be looking back on this show between now and Sunday, put yourself in his shoes. Put yourself in his mother's shoes and his father's shoes, his family's shoes. Truly imagine the suffering that they're going through and what he is experiencing. I don't even know, to be honest. Like, I can't even imagine probably what he has seen, experienced, felt over these 192 days. Put yourself in those shoes and allow yourself to feel that pain. And then think about what you're going to do between now or even at the latest on Sunday to support Toomaj. Please, I really want to put this call out there and not just wait on someone else to organize. Each and every one of us have an ability to take action at our fingertips, at our disposals, through our phones, whatever it may be. It could be a text, an email, a post. Please find a way to take action yourself. As far as what is happening, there are several rallies that I understand are being organized, none that I'm aware of locally, just because we don't have enough time to put something together that quickly. There are in other countries. For anyone outside the US, the posts, I will be sharing it in my stories. So you'll have more information on that. But us at Unite and Conquer, as you know, we've released a teaser on a video that we filmed back actually just 2 weeks ago. So that it's still undergoing editing. We want to do this justice and do it right. So it will take some time, but we'll definitely be releasing potentially another teaser.
Not potentially, definitely by some.
Definitely. I didn't want to commit too soon, Iman. But definitely, you heard it from the horse's mouth here. The man himself editing and working and leading all of this. But so we'll be releasing a teaser. And I think, Iman, we haven't talked about this, but certainly tagging as many musicians, advocates as we can to get the word out. And this is another call to action to everyone on the line here. This isn't just about kind of showing that we can rap to Toomaj's song, but this is in an effort to show and to get the word out there around Toomaj's story, whether that be through our caption or through this editing that comes in, through his actual words. And we can't do that alone. We need everybody here. When you see it posted, when you see it shared by us, please share, please tag other advocates, please tag other artists, so that really, it's not that we'd want to be famous amongst ourselves. We all have amazing things to do on a Sunday or Saturday evening, but we chose to get together so that hopefully this video has enough reach to make a difference for Toomaj eventually, that maybe one person sees it and feels like, dang, this is really messed up, and thinks they can do something about it.
Now that I see my good friend Andy, there's an individual in the chat, the New Persian Times, and I would like for everyone to please go and follow his page. That's Andy Alem. I met him virtually through him doing a lot of stuff in New York. Go follow all the stuff that he puts on his Instagram page. And he's the person that helped with the teaser. He's the gentleman that's going to be creating the actual music video. I needed an Iranian editor that could understand the lyrics and be able to match the lip syncing. So I just want to take a moment and sincerely thank Andy for everything he's been doing right now to make sure this Toomaj Salehi video is incredible. And by incredible, we mean impactful. We mean reaching a lot of people. So go check out the teaser that we posted like 4 or 5 days ago. Hopefully it'll get you excited for what's to come. We'll have another teaser coming up soon. but Mona just tagged Andy's Instagram page. Please go ahead and Andy, go ahead and just say, I'm Andy Alem. And I want to make sure everybody is watching, follows him. He puts a lot of effort into his Instagram page to basically be the voice of Iranians as well. So for sure, deserving of as much support as we can possibly give him.
I'm so glad you pointed that out. That's so important. We so appreciate you, Andy. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's keep on going. We have to get to Shaheen John too, but we got a few important things.
So really quickly, we said it before, but just another reminder, on May 26th is the last Friday of the month. We're going to be getting together in the Miami downtown area for a Critical Mass event. Critical Mass is a structured, organized bike ride through the downtown Miami area. And we're going to be wearing our Masa Amini, Free Toomaj, any kind of shirts you'd like, any kind of signs you'd like to wear. You can decorate your bike just to bring awareness. These are highly attended events, and we'd like to join there and do our best to bring awareness to what's going on in Iran. And then last but definitely not least, very soon you guys are going to be getting more detailed information around our very first AZADI festival that's going to be held on July 3rd in Ship Garden in Tyson, if I'm not mistaken, Tyson Corner, Washington, D.C.
You're such a Floridian.
Damn it. I don't want to be one, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'll provide all the juicy details about the festival after Shaheen, because I want to make sure we're staying on that. But it's going to be the ultimate outdoor festival, Monday, July 3rd, Ship Garden, amazing venue, music, entertainment, Iranian vendors, activities for all ages. It's going to be great.
Bahar Jun, I'm going to check on your question. I have the list. I just don't have it in front of me right now. I believe LA was on the list, but I will let you know for the Toomaj campaign. I will respond back in text here for you.
Yeah, and somebody was also asking if Chelsea still has a GoFundMe going for Edinburgh. I'm 99% sure, yes. Go on Chelsea's bio, and there's an opportunity to support Chelsea's efforts. Sorry.
And that's all I had for tonight, Iman. And again, if any ideas on what we could continue to be doing, please do send them to Let's Unite and Conquer or me directly at For Women Life Freedom. Always open to ideas on what more we could be doing. And we meet weekly as uniters to ideate on this, by the way. So, you know, we have other ideas in the back of our mind, but we're focused on Countdown and the AZADI Festival and, of course, what we're doing in this month for now.
AZADI, AZADI, AZADI. Begu. All right. All right, Sarah, thank you so much for spending the time to do this. Safe travels. I know you fit a lot of stuff, moved a lot of things around to make tonight happen. So appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our special guest, Shaheen Samadi. As I mentioned, he's an Iranian-American hip-hop artist, originally from Connecticut, but he's gone to the West Side. He went to LA, and so we're going to go ahead and loop him in right now. We've been on the topic of rappers such as Toomaj, so we're going from one amazing rapper to another amazing rapper, and just a great patriot who I met a couple of years ago during our Nowruz live stream. Shaheen John, Durud.
What's going on, Durud? How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great, man. You know, I'm getting sick and tired of just seeing you virtually. We have to make in-person happen very soon.
Yes, man. I'd love to come out to Miami sometime, and you have a home here in LA too, if you ever.
Thank you so much. And after our little segment, I'm going to share more details about the AZADI Festival happening in DC Monday, July 3rd. And some way, somehow, I'm going to make sure you come over there and be a part of that program so you can perform live. But for those who don't know Shaheen Samadi, can you give a little background about yourself and how you got into rapping, and specifically, you know, why you decided to shift and focus a lot on not just, you know, about Iran, but the history and the culture and all that good stuff. So a little background would be great.
Absolutely. So my name is Shaheen, aka your friendly neighborhood Persian rapper. I started writing lyrics when I was 15 as just a form of therapy, honestly, and I was always drawn to hip hop. There was something about hip hop music and rap music that just spoke to me. To me, it just kind of felt like it was the music of resistance, right? No matter who you listen to, like Eminem or even someone more like politically conscious like Nas or Pac, and it just really resonated with me. as I got older and more connected with my Iranian roots, I began to realize more and more that hip hop is all about heritage, right? Like it kind of started with Black Americans like representing themselves. And I thought that was so beautiful that like I realized how come I realized there was almost like this empty hole with like the Iranian culture. We don't have that yet. Yeah. And at that time I was so fascinated with like Persian culture, and I went to Iran back in 2016, and I think I told you this story before, where I went to like Takht Jamshid, and I went to like all different parts of Iran, and I just fell so in love with it. It was like a spiritual out-of-body experience, especially when I went to Persepolis. And what happened was I remember I went to a mosque in Shiraz, and it just happened to be coincidentally on a religious holiday. So I go into the tour bus takes us to this mosque, and all of a sudden I see a bunch of like pro-regime Basijis like holding Khomeini posters, you know, Magbar, America, and this, that. And I was so heartbroken because, you know, those people represent such a tiny minority of Iran, you know, but they were making 99% of Iranians look bad. And I recalled all the Iranians that were showing so much kindness to me, so much love. And I was honestly just so heartbroken just because, like, yo, these poor dudes who are so kind, the entire world thinks they're demons because of these guys. So when I came back home in 2016, like, that's kind of when I wanted to really go in on representing Iran and making sure that I can contribute to changing the image of people, what people think of, and also being able to tell our story, you know, from Cyrus to Gray up until today, you know?
Like a true storyteller, you know, like great rappers are great storytellers, great comedians are great storytellers. And so that's what you've been doing. And, you know, just looking back, you know, I stumbled upon your page like literally 2020, which is why I invited you to our 24-hour live stream. And I've seen you evolve as a rapper and making the big move to go to LA to be exposed to, you know, more individuals and connections and all that great stuff. But then things changed for you and everybody else in September after the unjust killing of Mahsa Amini. And right. I was able to see from afar how, you know, you made sure that you did everything that you could to be the voice of Iranians. And, you know, 7 months in, you know, there's been some people that have gotten, you know, more involved, less involved. And last week on your Instagram, you put up a reel and you started talking about encouraging people to get involved. And you created like a campaign, a message for Iran campaign. I want you to kind of share with me, like, what was the catalyst of you saying, hey, you know what, guys, we need to make a video. We need to bring some more awareness. We need to kind of, you know, add some fuel to the fire. Like, tell us about the whole process.
Absolutely, man. So, I mean, 7-8 months in, right? And I believe your first guest, I think her name was Paris. She rightfully said that the protests have not died down. The revolution is still going on. However, social media algorithms and the media likes to pretend that the protests have died down, right? So, one of the unfortunate realities is that people are talking about it less, and unfortunately it incentivizes people to move on. So I thought I wanted to kind of do something similar to what you're doing and continue to push people to talk about it. So we put out this music video last couple months ago during Nowruz, Parcham Bala, which was really a Khamenei diss track, and we wanted to kind of like, in collaboration with Retail Therapy Clinic, who I believe is in this chat right now. And next, we thought it would be cool to kind of like make these Parcham Bala shirts, nice, and, you know, push them out, but to push the message out, and then encourage people to post a video, right? Saying like, why is it important for you for people to be talking about Iran? Because I think people know by now why it's important to me for me, you know, and why it's important to you. But like, I want to encourage people to keep posting about it, because back in September, back in October, almost every Iranian in the diaspora were posting stories, and they're going to protests, and they're doing a lot. And I have seen it sort of like at least in social media posts, like they slowed down a bit. So we just kind of wanted to, you know, continue to fuel the conversation to make sure that people in the diaspora don't forget that our brothers and sisters are still fighting.
Well, you basically asked all of your network to make a video. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody here watching and encourage them exactly what you would like that video to be like? Is it just like a 1 or 2 minute video where you share about why you are continuing to do the fight?
It can be. You can be creative. You can like do a video, like a reel like I did, and explain to you what it means to you. It doesn't have, you don't have to overcomplicate it. It could be a picture of you, you know, holding a sign or something, or maybe behind the Iranian flag and saying something, you know, and then just writing in your captions like what it means to you. You can be creative if you want. You can make a song. I don't know. You can like make a piece of artwork. I just want people to kind of keep talking about it, you know? And so, and then if you do post it, you know, just do hashtag message for, like the number 4, message for Iran. And then also include a hashtag Parcham Bala.
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely if you haven't seen Parcham Bala, go check it out in Shaheen's bio. To change gears a little bit for the last couple minutes of our conversation, one of the things that I truly appreciate and admire about you is that you've been very open about depression, mental health challenges, and you know, like tell me a little bit more about how music has helped you personally with your battles of depression and mental health.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Wow. Yeah. So I mean, when I was a teenager, right, I would listen to like the Slim Shady LP a lot and the Marshall Mathers LP, and I'm sure everyone knows what that is, but just in case you don't, those are like the first 2 commercial Eminem albums. And that was therapeutic to me because, you know, when I was that age in high school, I was kind of like the shy, geeky kid in school, right? So I wasn't the coolest kid. I wasn't, you know, hanging out with all the popular kids. I wasn't the smoothest guy with the chicks and whatever. So like when I listened to Eminem, he kind of made me feel invincible. And it made me realize the power of music and what that can do to you. And I kind of wanted the same way that like Eminem influenced me, not just lyrically, not just musically, but like in my life. I kind of thought it would be fulfilling if I can do that to other people as well. So that's why I'm really open with my mental health. I want to inspire people through my music and just through other means to become the best versions of themselves, you know, because you have so much potential and you don't even realize it, you know?
I love that, man. Well, first of all, I'm glad that music was so therapeutic for you. What is the ultimate goal with your music?
Yeah, I mean, I want to make a living doing what I love. You know what I mean? I want to, I love this Iranian thing I do. I love this brand I do. I think I want to continue telling our story as Iranians. And I do want to make it like, I mean, for lack of a better term, I do want to make it. I think we all know what that kind of means. And yeah, because at the end of the day, in order to become the best version of yourself, you have to be free. You have to kind of, you know, you're not going to be the best version of yourself if you're waking up and going to a job you hate every day. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, yeah, I want to wake up and do what I love every single day and make a living out of it. And that way I can inspire other people to do the same.
Well, you're definitely on track. You know, you mentioned the word free. My question to you is, what will you do? Where will you be when Iran is free?
Taking a flight to Tehran, baby. I mean, I would love to be, it would be so cool to perform in Iran, man. I'm serious. Like, hopefully, prayers for Toomaj. And that's something I want to talk about as well. But because with the Toomaj thing, I took personally. But yeah, man, if I can, like, even if I had the honor to, like, open up for Toomaj and, you know, something like that, and just really perform for my people. You know, it's funny. I've been in LA. And I've done a lot of shows, but I've only really done 1 or 2 in front of Iranians. And those 2 shows happen to be my favorite shows. You know what I mean? Like, I love to be with my people. And I would love to be in either, you know, Tehran or who knows. Maybe we'll have a concert in Taft-e-Jamshid, you know, and, you know, something big.
Well, you know, I feel like that will be coming full circle, right? Because you had this outer body movement when you were at Taft-e-Jamshid.
Yeah.
So that has to be your goal, to go ahead and go back and do it. And when I had Farmaz Asani on a couple months ago for a live stream, his hope is to go perform at Taft-e-Jamshid too. So maybe you guys can be a part of the festival. I produce it, you perform, he performs.
Who knows? We could perform together. There was a song I did last year called Walls, and it's a Farmaz Asani sample. So who knows? You know, if he happens to be lit. But
all right.
Yeah, but you know, with the whole Toomaj thing, I just wanted to touch upon that because I'm a rapper, he's a rapper. So when I heard about his arrest, you know, I was kind of like, holy fuck. Like, I mean, because like, that's literally what I do. I talk shit about, you know, and you've been following me since what, 2019, 2020? Yeah. You know, I've been talking about this for years. So, You know what I mean? Like he does what I do in Farsi. You know what I mean? And so when that happened to him, I was shook. I was actually starting to get a little paranoid, but not in a way where it makes me scared, but just angry. And I realized, yo, I can't just be sitting out here living in LA in luxury. Well, I don't live in luxury, but living here like comfortably in LA.
We're privileged for sure. No doubt about it. Yeah.
I can't be a privilege in LA and rapping about stupid things, and not that I usually do anyway, but you know what I mean? And it would be a dishonor to people who are fighting and dying to not talk about it. So I am also doing a little something for Toomaj. I encourage anyone listening, including you, Iman, if you're interested in participating in this little thing, if you want more information, I'd love to have everyone involved. You can send me a DM and we can talk about that. And it's really just involves me using my skill set to raise awareness for him. And I hope that this message, spreads not only for Iranians, but especially for anyone living in the West, right? Because imagine if this happened to Eminem. Imagine if this happened to Kendrick or Cole or, Nas. Like, we'd all be like, the fuck is going on, right? So this is so important for the hip-hop community to rise up.
That's why us the Uniters, we did a reenactment of Surah Mush. I'm going to be releasing that music video in the next week or two. And so it's literally for that. It's the fact that people need to realize that literally this guy was doing exactly what any other American rapper or any other non-Iranian rapper does in their homeland without any kind of consequence, So we do live a very privileged life. Shaheen, I could always talk to you a lot more. You're such good people, and I appreciate you. I appreciate your passion for what you're doing. I have no doubt that everything that you have envisioned, you will turn into reality. It just, as you know, it takes time to build a place like Rome, And so, since you enjoy performing in front of Iranians, I hope that you have your 3rd of July open, and we got to figure out to have you at the AZADI Festival in the nation's capital. We're going to have a lot of people coming out for that event. I'll be talking to you about that on the side. But
honored, man. Send me information. Let's talk about it.
That would be a great opportunity for people to get to know you and hear you perform live. I look forward to seeing you perform live, and so I'll definitely be in touch with you. But I appreciate you making time, man. Thank you so much, and wishing you all the best. Be umid azadi.
Take care, brother.
Good night, man. Take care. Bye. All right, so I hope you enjoy getting to know Shaheen Samadi. If you did not know him, go ahead and follow him, support his music, his talents. He truly has been doing everything possible musically to be able to be the voice of our people, and he's deserving of our support. I mentioned AZADI Festival a couple of times, and so as a closing note of tonight's episode number 19, I just want to give a little more detail again about the AZADI Festival. Every day we're chipping away with the details. We're going to be launching the full promotional material in the next couple of days. But basically on Monday, July 3rd, we're going to be at Ship Garden in Tyson's, which is in Tyson's Corner, Virginia, pretty much right outside the DC area. And it's an incredible outdoor venue. It holds about 5,000 people. It has everything from playgrounds for children, dog park for dogs, multiple indoor tents, just pretty much everything that you would want, from food to drinks to hookah, under the stars, outdoor, indoor, limitless numbers of craft beers, a tequila bar, a whiskey bar, Persian food, Latin food, German food, yes, German food, like sausages and everything. And then Asian food, no shortage of food, drinks, and entertainment and activities. And every single day we're working on stacking up the lineup with some incredible people, a lot of activists, and freedom fighters, and hoping to have a lot of celebrity appearances, having great performances such as hopefully Shaheen joining us. I would love to have him perform Parchama Bala. So really a lot of great stuff, a lot of our great DJs, exclusive entertainment DJs, live musicians, live performances. It's really some incredible stuff that we look forward to present to you on behalf of Unite and Conquer. So mark your calendars, July 3rd. I don't care where you are, you should plan a trip to the DC area for 4th of July weekend. I think it'll be worth it, but let the promo speak for itself, Banarjan, you're asking me to say this whole thing in Persian. Oh man, خیلی کوتاه میتونم بهتون بگم. 3 جولای یه برنامه داریم به اسم آزادی فستیوال. فستیوال AZADI to شهر Tyson's Corner, Virginia, Washington, D.C. Wow, I just realized that my Persian is very weak nowadays. I'm so accustomed to speaking English on countdown. در صورت اطلاعات بیشتر رو صفحه من خواهد بود، رو بایو من خواهد بود، از نوازنده، خواننده، چه میدونم اکتیویتی واسه بچه‌ها، غذا، مشروب، حال و هول. And vendors, and we're gonna have vendors. A lot of Iranian-owned artists, creatives, vendors, یعنی مثل یه بازار, like a market, bazaar, whatever you want to call it. So a lot of great things happening on Monday, July 3rd in the DC's nation's capital. I will end it on this note. If you like this idea, then please, when the promotion material comes out, spread the word. If you like this idea, see if you can actually get your family to come and be like, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and make a trip to DC this 4th of July weekend. If you like the idea a lot and you want to help in some shape or form, even if it is remotely, reach out to me. Let's see if you can help make this a success. If you're in the DC area, my hometown of 30 years, and you really want to help, we can really benefit from having a ton of volunteers to make it be a successful, a smooth, and organized event for all ages. Really, we're excited to present this experience. It really is experience, not even an event. It's an experience. It's to bring awareness of what's happening in Iran. It's for AZADI. It's for our freedom. It's for our fight. It's for our enjoyment. It's for our community. It's for our unity. It's for our hambasigi. It is for so many things that we as Iranians in the diaspora need so much. And it is for what we need to do for our compatriots inside of Iran that are fighting for freedom and that are begging, and literally dying to make sure that we hear their voices and we continue to do this fight. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate you guys for joining episode 19. I want to thank, of course, the producer of tonight's program, Paris June, Sareh Kazemi for joining us with the updates, Dr. Sam for taking time out of all the things that he's challenged with right now with his family and his aunt not being in the best of health to join us and being a part of this. And of course, Shaheen Samadi for joining. But of course, every single one of you for joining, for commenting. Please feel free to subscribe to our Unite and Conquer YouTube channel. Follow the Let's Unite and Conquer Instagram page. Much love. And next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm so happy to let you know that Emily Schrader will be our special guest. Emily Schrader has been one of the loudest voices, non-Iranian voices, that's been talking about the revolution. So next Wednesday, May 17th, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on my Instagram. We're going to have a great conversation talking about a lot of great things. She's a writer and lecturer on Israel, democracy, and human rights. Really amazing individual. Looking forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday. Much love. Shab Bekhair. Ba umid Azadi. Zan. Zindagi. Azadi.